Hello everyone, it's just me with another update. We are back at Cannock Chase today. I've had a report come in from a chap, and his name's Stefan, and he said, "Hi Deborah, I wanted to thank you for your continued efforts in logging all the sightings and stories that come your way. In particular, the British wildman or the Woodwose encounters, which I'm especially interested in. I was brought up in Rugeley during the 1960s, which is very close to Cannock Chase in Staffordshire. I don't know if you know, but during the First and Second World Wars, there were two large military camps on Cannock Chase, and my friend's grandfather was stationed there during the First World War. His name was Ron, and he once told me and my friend about the German prisoners of war that were kept there, and how they'd been afraid to escape or run into the forest because some of them had seen a wild, hairy man moving around the trees. Ron and his fellow soldiers used to mock the Germans about this, and they were just, thought that they were afraid of being caught and shot, or that they were secretly working on other escape ideas and were trying to avoid suspicion. One night, Ron was on night duty, and he and another guard heard some noises coming from the trees outside of the barbed wire perimeter. They were used to hearing deer and badgers, and they knew that this was a much larger animal than that. They thought it might be an escaping prisoner. So they went to the wire and shone their torches into the woods. The noise stopped, but Ron said they could both sense that someone or something was watching them. Ron's colleague suggested that they both turn off their torches and wait to see what would happen. And when they did this, they stood very still and very quiet, just listening for further noises. After about a minute, they heard the noise again, but it seemed much further away this time. Ron said it sounded like feet stomping. They switched the torches back on and shone the beams towards the direction of the noise. And although it was some distance away, they both clearly saw a tall, hairy figure who looked back at them and lifted its arm to cover its eyes from the glare of the light. Ron demonstrated the movement to us when he told the story. Before the creature's eyes were covered, Ron said they saw that they shone within the dark, and they shone with a red colour, very different from deer. Although neither of them took their eyes off the thing, they said it just seemed to slowly vanish as they watched. The long hair seemed to become a dead vine hanging down the tree, and the legs and the body began to look like the leaves of the rhododendron bush, and there are a lot of these on the chase. And at the same time, they sensed that the creature was no longer there. I remember Ron saying, "It didn't move. It just kind of wasn't there anymore." This always stuck with me, Deb, because as you know, the hardest thing to understand about these creatures is how they appear and disappear and remain hidden. Now, the chap said to me that he'd found a film on YouTube which mentions the military camp and the fact that the Germans believed there was a wild man in the surrounding forest. Ron said after that, they never laughed at the German stories, but they also never told anyone about it in case they were teased, or worse, disciplined for not going after the thing. He said, "When we were teenagers in the early 70s, we used to go to the woods on the chase and smoke and take the girls for a walk, but never at night. Nobody ever said anything, but it was a kind of unwritten rule that you don't want to be up there at night." I hope this story is interesting for you, Deborah. Well, it's an absolutely fascinating story. I've put the link to the documentary that he speaks about below. Actually, Joe Weeks got in touch with me this week as well and sent me the same documentary. So I never ignore a hint from the universe. So I think you want to go and have a look at that. It's got some very early Woodwose accounts of it from across the UK that I think you might enjoy. But I will be back really soon with another new report. Enjoy your weekend. Good night, everyone.